Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be doing my NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff predictions, and also if you want to have a look on who I predicted to be in the playoffs for the Craftsman Truck Series, I highly recommend it. I'll leave the card up there in the corner so you can watch it for yourself. So anyways, let's start off now with NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff predictions, and we'll just start off with the drivers who I think are going to make it to the playoffs, who were in the playoffs last year in 2023, which includes Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, Sammy Smith, Chandler Smith, Sheldon Creed, and Parker Kligerman as 8 drivers. Now, Cole Custer makes sense. He's a reigning champion, and he's like an absolute god in the Xfinity Series somehow. So definitely Cole Custer should be in the playoffs this year. This year as well in 2024. Justin Allgaier, maybe the most consistent Xfinity Series driver that we have in this field, so he's definitely gonna make it. Austin Hill, he's probably gonna win Daytona, so that's just a no-brainer. Sam Mayer, he really surprised me this season. He improved massively from actually a pretty decent 2022 season, and then he got 3 wins in last year. So that's really a good. So that's a great sign there for him, and he's also a really good road course racer, which I was not expecting to see. So that's definitely something that he could maybe be a dark horse, maybe road courses, but we just have to wait and see about that. Sammy Smith, even though he was relatively quiet throughout his rookie season 2023, he did win a Phoenix pretty early on, so he could maybe surprise some people. He's now with Junior Motorsports, which is a lot more stable than Joe Gibbs Racing, but so he has some pretty good competition with Mayer, Allgaier, and Brandon Jones, if you really want to say that. But Sammy Smith, I think he's definitely going to make it. The other Smith, which is obviously Chandler Smith, he's now with Joe Gibbs Racing, which is pretty ironic considering that he left Toyota to join Kaulig Racing in the Chevy. Now he's back with Toyota, so kind of ironic there. And now he's with basically like one of the powerhouse teams of the Xfinity Series, along with Junior Motorsports, obviously, and Stuart Haas, if you really want to say that. I think Chandler Smith will do very well. I think he might actually get multiple wins. Sheldon Creed, he's also now with Joe Gibbs Racing as well. And like I mentioned before in my NASCAR player predictions video, I don't think Sheldon Creed is going to get a win. I think he's going to be a lot more consistent than last year. So he's probably going to get a bunch of top fives, maybe in top threes even, but I don't think he's going to get that elusive win. If he does, I'm going to look incredibly stupid. And Parker Kligerman, I mean, he was very sneaky coming into the playoffs last year. Pretty consistent as well. I mean, it was mainly like a battle between like him and Riley Herbst to make it into the playoffs. So he did, and I mean, he was pretty consistent as well. And I do think Big Machine Racing is gonna take that just take that step above as well to definitely be competing against like the Carlos, the Junior Motorsports, the Stuart Haas, the Joe Gibbs Racing. So watch out for Parker Kligerman. He might really do really well. Now let's move over now to the 4 drivers who basically didn't make it to the playoffs last year. And let's first start off with returning to the Xfinity Series, AJ Allmendinger. Once again, an absolute no-brainer. Especially on road courses. He's really good on road courses, obviously, with his past experience, pretty sure, in kart, or like now called IndyCar. So he's definitely had a prior experience in road courses, and he was basically a championship favorite, pretty sure, in 2021. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 2020, I'm pretty sure, when him and also Cindric were battling out for the championship. Obviously in Phoenix that year, he kind of screwed up. I think he had like a flat tire or something, so his championship hopes basically dwindled and went out to Narnia. And I'm pretty sure I also have AJ Allmendinger I'm pretty sure, be the champion as well in my predictions. So I have high hopes for Allmendinger. He's probably going to do a Cole Custer and just dominate, but we'll see what happens with AJ Allmendinger. Another driver who I think is going to do pretty well is Riley Herbst for Stuart Haas Racing. He got his first win in Las Vegas pretty late into the season, pretty sure during the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. And he has improved massively from where he was, I think it was like 2021, 2020 with Joe Gibbs Racing, when he was kind of kind of crap. And then he slightly improved, and then last year he massively improved, and now I think 2024 he's going to be a very complete driver. I'm like he struggled quite early on early in his Xfinity Series season, and then last year he was like a top. He was like like constantly like top five. I'm pretty sure like top five throughout in the standings until I think like somewhere like in like middle of the season where he had a bunch of DNFs and poor finishes, like a string of poor finishes and stuff, which caused him to finish. I think in the standings, I think he got 13th. I'm pretty sure the basically the first driver out of the playoffs. But I think this year that's going to change. I think he's going to make it into the playoffs for the Xfinity series. Now the next driver, I may be a little biased considering that I watched him for 12 years, 10 years maybe, which is Shane Van Gisbergen. Now this might be a bit of a hot take, maybe for some people, especially who are mainly strictly NASCAR fans and who have never watched Shane Van Gisbergen race other than his win in Chicago and Indianapolis as well. But for how long I've watched him, he can get into any car and compete instantly. He can also compete in supercars, also like which is touring cars, GT cars, I guess. Speaking of GT cars, he can compete in GT cars. He can compete in dirt. I'm pretty sure in like quarter midgets and stuff, and USAC. Well, kind of similar to those. Or I should say sprint cars. Sprint cars. That's what I meant to say. He can compete in Formula cars, rally cars as well. He can compete. He was very competitive when he was I think competing in the World Rally Championship when they went to New Zealand. So generally, I think Shane Van Gisbergen, he's gonna be a very quick learner. Obviously he's gonna be competing first in ARCA, I'm pretty sure Daytona, and then he's gonna go straight, and then he's gonna jump to the Xfinity car. I think like late on that day as well, same at Daytona. So he's gonna have that bit of experience compared to everyone else, but he's gonna be a very quick learner. So and I think expect somehow like somewhere in the middle of the season, he's gonna be pretty competitive, maybe on the ovals. And I also do have him to win. I think max will probably at least two races in the road courses mainly. So expect him to be very dominant in the road courses. So we'll see what happens with Shane Van Gisbergen this season. But I relatively high hopes for him, but we'll see how that goes. And the final driver now, before I get into my final driver, there's obviously other drivers which I definitely didn't put in. I think like maybe the two biggest ones are Josh Williams and Brandon Jones. Those two drivers, obviously, they're in top tier equipment, College Racing and Junior Motorsports respectively. Brandon Jones, he's kind of just been meh, I'll be honest, throughout his entire career in the Xfinity Series. And this is also Josh Williams' first time in a very competitive Xfinity Series car. I don't really know how Josh Williams is going to go. I mean, he was pretty good in the Cup Series when they clashed with other Coliseum. I'm pretty sure he was like the first driver out to from making it to the main event. So I mean, it wasn't too bad. But I don't really know. Josh Williams, he's a bit of up in the air right now. Like, I don't really know what to really expect from Josh Williams. I guess maybe another one, maybe like Ryan Sieg. I mean, he's been in the playoffs a couple times. He's been pretty decent, but last year was a bit of a slump for him. Haley digging for AM Racing, which were actually pretty good last year. Not really expecting a lot from her, I'll be honest. And Jeremy Clements, I don't think he's going to get a surprise Speedway win, but we'll see how that goes. And I can't really think of really anyone else. No, maybe Anthony Alfredo for Al Motorsports, but I don't think they're really going to do much as well. So the final driver that I had to make it to NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs is Jesse Love. Obviously, he's a rookie for Richard Childress Racing. He's one of two rookies who I have predicted to make it to the playoffs. That was literally the other one being Shane Van Gisbergen. So I also think so that JC Love is going to give Austin Hill a run for his money. I talked about it in my predictions video. He's going to be very maybe a bit aggressive, especially on intermediates and maybe even short tracks as well. But I do think that JC Love will probably either point his way in or win maybe at least one or two races. I don't think he's gonna win too many, considering that there's a lot of veterans like Allgaier, Custer, Hill, Mayer, like Bo Smith possibly, maybe even Allmendinger as well. So I don't think he's gonna win that many races. I think he's just gonna be pretty consistent just to make it to the playoffs. Just don't do anything wrong. Just point his way in. And then maybe in the playoffs, we'll probably see him be a bit more aggressive. But I think during the regular season, we're probably going to see maybe a simmer down Jesse Love. But I think when we get closer and closer to the playoffs, he might be a bit aggressive, maybe for people to probably deal with. He might be like Ty Gibbs, kind of, maybe not too aggressive and that much of a spoiled brat. But I think he's gonna be pretty aggressive, we'll say. But we just have to wait and see how Jesse Love goes in the Xfinity series, considering that this will be his. I think this might be his first ever start actually in the NASCAR Xfinity series. I don't think he's actually had any prior experience in the Xfinity series, so we just have to wait and see how he goes. So, as you can see, that is my list for the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs. Let's see how right or wrong I am. As we get, obviously, when I rewatch this, I think somewhere in September when the playoffs do start. So that's really bad for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys the next time in the next one. Goodbye.